There's so many layers. Who thought hell would have a manual?
And all of them are detailed to hell and back. Ha!
Tonight's going to be hell, isn't it?
Welcome to the RPGBOT.Podcast. I'm Randall James, and with me is... give me a second. We're going to do that a little bit differently. I forgot to... Okay. Welcome to the RPGBOT.Podcast. I'm Randall James, and with me is Tyler Kamstra.
Hi, everybody.
And Ash Eli.
You can go to hell.
Straight to hell.
Straight to hell.
And basket? Yes, no?
Nah, no hand baskets.
No, I just want you to burn for all eternity.
Oh.
That's fair.
Welcome to my life. I've had that said to me many times.
No hand basket?
No, spoiler alert, I'm Jewish, and I've lived in a lot of places. I'm not religious, but like culturally. And I've lived in a lot of places where there are a lot of evangelical Christians. So I've been told more than once in my life that I am going to hell, which is fun.
Intolerance sucks.
It does.
And then you had your D&D session later that week, and sure enough, they were right.
Yeah, I mean, now we're getting into the stuff that's like why there was a satanic panic in the first place.
That's fair.
When it came to D&D.
Look, just because this particular theme, there we go. Just because this particular session is super hell and devil obsessed doesn't generally mean that everything we do in this game is hellish and horny.
Well, to be fair, they were accusing us of worshiping Satan and devils. They didn't say anything about demons.
That's fair. I don't know if they make a distinction on a regular basis, which actually I want to get into that. I want to get to that. Okay, look, folks at home, I think you probably put it together and you've got it down. We're going to be talking about what we're hoping will be the next D&D movie.
The Nine Hells? A journey most profound?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, okay. Tyler, what's happening?
Bill and Ted's wacky adventure through the Nine Hells.
Yeah, I want to play that session. Just two bards, two low-level bards.
Yeah. I would play that. I would run that session. Not gonna
Three
lie.
low-level bards.
Yeah, you start at Nessus and have to work your way back up. Yo, there's been some mistake, man. We're not supposed to be here.
I've never seen that movie somehow.
What is wrong with you?
I know. Look, there's a reason I am the way I am, and it's because I missed most cultural touchstones to play D&D.
Honestly,
okay.
That's fair.
I missed a lot of cultural touchstones myself. So
to answer the question that I left hanging, we're going to talk about hell tonight. The plane, the experience, the small city in Michigan, all of these things, potentially more,
Detroit?
probably less.
Are you
Hell, Michigan.
Oh,
Michigan,
okay.
yeah.
I thought maybe you were slandering the lovely town of Detroit.
No.
Hell, Michigan. They're very proud of it. I don't know if this will surprise you. There is, in fact, a best bar in hell.
Yeah.
There's also a best bar in this hell, too. Fun fact. But it is also called Bator, is the other name for it.
There's no Bator, Michigan.
Yeah, I would be surprised if there was.
Okay, sorry. One more really, really dumb thing. So I can drive to Hell, Michigan pretty quickly from where I live, but to get there, I have to drive past Greyhawk.
What?
Oh, that's fun.
There's a Greyhawk, Michigan?
It's a little housing tract.
I see you, Gary Gygax. I see what you did here. You were taking a drive through Michigan, weren't you?
Yeah, we all thought you were inspired to use.
Yeah. We all thought you were super creative, but no, it just turns out you were just doing what my roommate does and finding interesting names off of road signs as you're driving to use in your campaign. Yes, my roommate does that.
Yeah, can you imagine if he was driving through like southern Louisiana and it's like, oh yeah, we're going to the plain of Atchafalaya.
That would be dope. I'd love to see more Bayou inspired names, please. Yes.
Okay. Maybe one day we put that together. It'll be great.
Yeah. Well, if I ever run my vampire game again, I will be doing that a lot. So
perfect. Yeah. Okay. Tonight we dine in hell.
Perfect. So we've done a few episodes on the plains at this point. Come back to us, Ash. Come back. We scared him away.
No, he's got to do science, Kirk. Let him be.
I said keep going.
I tried telling him that.
I didn't see. I was very confused.
Yeah, no, I was just opening my window. It's hot here.
I was doing that. It's hot. It's hot. Are you kidding me? It's hot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I dealt with this past week? I had inches of snow.
It sucks for you, man.
In mid-March.
Sucks for you. It's like
it's so hot. I have to open a window.
Yeah. Let me see what. It's a balmy 70 degrees here, but it's just hot in my room for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, I could tell you why. No, we're gonna go below freezing tonight, and that's its own kind of hell.
I could sit outside and drink a margarita if I wanted to tonight.
I could sit outside and drink a margarita too. What's your point?
And not suffer frostbite? I don't think so.
Okay, fair.
Margaritas. Or hypothermia, I should say.
All right, focus, gentlemen. So we have done a few episodes on the planes at this point, and we've landed on kind of a format so we make sure we hit all of the important points about what a plane is, how it works, what lives there, all of those things. As we have gone into depth and researched Hell and looked at various sources and materials and things, Hell has, despite being lawful, has chosen to be evil anyway and has refused to conform to the nice, orderly format that we had previously.
It's not very lawful of them.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to do things a little out of order compared to the previous Planes episodes, mostly because there's 9 layers, which in a lot of ways function like independent planes. So we're going to go outside in. We're going to figure it out as we go. It's going to be great.
And if you think things are chaotic now, just wait till we talk about the abyss. See what I did there? But it's also true.
So I want to lead off with the 5e optional rules because I'm sincerely worried I will just forget to slip them in anywhere else. The optional rule for Hell is called Pervasive Evil, which, what a name for Hell.
Makes sense.
If you spend a long rest in Hell, you have to make a DC 10 wisdom save. If you fail, your alignment immediately changes to lawful evil. And then thereafter, you have 1d4 days to leave Hell. If you leave Hell within that time frame, you're fine. You go back to normal. Everything is good. You might have to make some apologies. If you don't make it out of Hell in that time frame, it's permanent. You are now permanently lawful evil. Welcome to Hell.
Yep. No, don't like that. Apparently, I can't keep my window open because there are dogs in my neighborhood who refuse to shut up. So, would you excuse me? Keep going.
Let me ask you a question on the optional rule, Pervasive Evil. The last sentence there: casting the Dispel Evil and Good spell on the creature also restores its original alignment. Is that only if you've done a long rest and you haven't escaped Hell yet, or is that also even in the permanent? It's not really permanent because I can fix it with a spell.
I would rule that as fixing the permanent stuff. There are a bunch of ways to fix alignment issues at this point. I think that's the only time I've ever seen Dispel Evil and Good used that way. I'm sure Wish could fix it. Ceremony can fix it. But I think Ceremony does require a willing creature. And if you're convincing, like, one of your friends has become mustache-twirling evil, and you now need to convince them, like, hey, sit down for an hour while I cast this spell to fix your personality problems. I don't think you're going to convince them to do that. So Dispel Evil and Good is probably your best bet.
This is why I said on our Pathfinder 2 Monster Core why I hate alignment, and I think it should be taken out into the back and tearfully shot. It's just
it can go straight to hell.
Go straight to hell. Straight to hell. It's just I don't like it. I don't like anything that changes your personality. And I know players aren't huge fans of that, unless it's like something they choose to lean into. If you go to Hell, maybe don't use this. I don't think it's a good idea.
It is an optional rule.
I feel like the way this could be fun is if there was a good aligned character, like an NPC that the party really liked, where their goal is actually to get to them, rescue them, and get them out of Hell. You have 4 days to get this character out of Hell, or they're going to become lawful evil permanently.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fun.
Doing it with NPCs, totally on board with that. And especially if it's something that has a time limit and players can fix or solve, I'm completely on board with. Also, my big problem is like it really is one save or your character's functionally over. And it's just, if you're going to do this, I would say use a corruption system. Like maybe when they fail, they get a corruption point. If they reach 10, then their alignment shifts, because then you have a countdown clock, you have a timer, and you're like, oh, okay, so the longer when we're in here, the worse it's going to be. So we have to wrap up what we're doing quickly. That puts pressure on people. it still has that time limit, like the D4 days or whatever, but it's less bad feeling because at least now you have a chance to prevent it, even if your wisdom blows. I would say make it a gradual shift. Don't make it an all or nothing, because those don't ever feel well.
Yeah, borrow something from like the PF2 affliction style, where you essentially create a curse, create stages where every day you have a likelihood of going up and down. And what that would effectively mean is because you're going to be constantly be going up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little bit, the effects would manifest differently for different folks in the party. But ultimately, they could probably spend 5 tens of days before they might hit that, like, you're just permanently evil, like you're an evil dude now and there's nothing we could do. I think that would be fun in any system. You could do that in 5e or PF2. But I do think borrowing what PF2 does for afflictions really works well here.
Yeah, I mean, just look at some of the curses in Pathfinder 2. They would slot in perfectly here, rather than just an all or nothing save or suck spell. Like even something like petrification takes multiple saves before you turn to stone. So hint.
So speaking of PF2, like, I think we're going to talk a lot about the 5e idea of hell. Let's just take a moment. Like, what's going on in PF2 for hell?
Okay, so this one might surprise folks a little bit. We're in kind of a weird lore place for hell. The remaster just happened. They're updating a lot of the lore around the planes, like starting with Rage of Elements, where they redid the whole depiction of the multiverse. Hell really hasn't gotten any attention yet. We know that it's still there. We know that Asmodeus is still in it. The Monster Core has just like a tiny bit of detail about what devils are, how they work, and their hierarchy, but that's really all the information we have post-remaster. All of the pre-remaster lore is stunningly similar to D&D lore. So things are bound to change soon, but we are where we are in the timeline of real-world history.
Well, I doubt it will change too much, because the thing about Bator and Hell and stuff like that is that a lot of it is taken from public domain sources. The idea of multiple layers of hell, that comes straight from Dante's Inferno. Granted, there's 7 layers of hell, not 9 in that. And a lot of the demon names are actually just taken from a source from the Key of Solomon called the Ars Goetia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. There's like 32 different demon names in there that you've probably heard of before. If you played any sort of game that has devils, they're going to come up. As people think Asmodeus is something WotC came up with. No, they did not come up with that. That is straight from the Ars Goetia. There's also Barbados, Beelzebub, if you've heard that. That's a big one. Baal is actually not from Ars Goetia. Actually, no, I think he is, but Baal was also a god of the Assyrian or Carthaginian religion, I think it was. So that the Jews at the time just were like, the other gods are devils and demons. So that's why there's some overlap with some of the names from...
There's ours, there's not ours.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
100%. Yeah, so they wouldn't have to change much, especially when it comes to the names. Maybe some of the lore and depictions, but not too much.
I think that's the interesting part that could be a little bit spicy if you're trying to claim that you're completely independent of D&D lore. It'd be like, okay, cool. Here's our grab bag of names. And here's our grab bag of layers of hell. But we just can't stick like the same person on the same layer and describe it the same way, probably.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, you could, because again, like, you can't copyright you'd have to copyright the whole thing, which you couldn't do since they're using, public domain stuff. But we're not lawyers, and we don't have Alex on the podcast right now, so maybe if we ever have him back on, we can sneak that in. Hey, what do you think about this?
Alex, we'd like you to come on. We want to talk about hell.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Not saying that you're an expert on it or anything.
I guess that's kind of a weird place to be in the timeline of PF2. I guess, is there anything else interesting worth saying?
Yeah, there are some unique lore bits. Within the Pathfinder lore, hell is actually a deliberately constructed plane. Like, most of the other planes just kind of happened as creation happened. Somebody deliberately built hell. I couldn't find a definitive answer on who actually built it, but there's a group of outsiders who were created by accident due to a rounding error during the creation of the multiverse. They originally lived in hell, and then Asmodeus looked at hell and was like, mine, led an army, took over. And then at some point in all of that, the god of evil dragons comes in, smashes the whole thing to pieces, and now hell is a place of fire and suffering. It's a combination of oops, bad choices, bad people doing bad things, and then bad people doing worse things that all led to hell being the way it is.
Okay, so this might not be canon, but the way that I understood you describe that just now, it sounds like it's possible that, like, Asmodeus was like, that place is a paradise. That is a tropical shore. There are coconuts everywhere. We're going in. And then sometime in the future, the evil dragons came in and was like, nah, wrecked. And now it's like, oh, no, my place is trash. Like that. That might have been what happened. And I love that.
I invested in beachfront property, and now there's all these dang foreigners messing it up.
It's the foreigners with dragons in this case.
Yeah.
Okay, I was trying to make sure I was in on the bit. That's all.
Yeah.
Honestly, like there are bits of this that don't quite make sense to me, because like Asmodeus presumably has like his army is devils, you would assume, but it's before he's taken over hell. All of the devils come from hell. So what was his army before hell? I don't know. I don't have an answer here. My knowledge isn't deep enough, and I couldn't find an answer without digging into like 50 adventure paths.
Sounds like he just moved headquarters, right? Like he had, they were getting all these people to move over, and it's fine. You know what? Fine. I'll come to you. I've got a great producer university, 8th level.
Would be, honestly.
Disneyland in hell. That would be interesting.
No.
I think they just call that Knott's Berry Farm.
Funny. That's funny.
No, that's very funny.
Shots fired. Knott's Berry Farm is great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, go away, sir. If you're gonna take a shot, at least say that exists. I believe it's in Anaheim. Because at least you're taking a shot at not a beloved landmark here in LA. I don't care.
Look, I lived in Southern California until I was 15, and let me tell you, if you're going to live in Southern California, those are the worst parts of your life to live in Southern California.
Yeah, I could imagine. That's fair.
That's fair. So I feel like you're doing a pretty good job of painting a picture, Tyler, but I want to maybe ask the question before you answer it the way you just did. What is hell?
Other people.
Beat me to it. Yeah.
Sorry, I stole your joke.
No, it's a great line. Okay. Hell, the 9 hells of Baator. It's a circular layer cake, a jawbreaker, if you will, of
I believe Ruin Smith described it as a layer of Pringles.
Pringles.
Yeah. Pringles stacked on one on top of each other.
Those are saddles.
See,
that shape is called a saddle.
It's a strange thing, because like planes are, in theory at least, infinite in size, but also at the same time kind of have borders. So is it like infinitely wide flat planes that have layers, or is it truly essentially a planet with vaguely defined dimensions? No idea.
But the 9 hells are the plane. Each of them are not their own plane, although they're vast. And okay, I'm going to read a description out of the DMG. The 9 hells has 7. Wow. That's not what it says. Just give me a second. I got excited. The 9 hells has 9 layers. The first 8 are each ruled by archdevils that answer to Asmodeus, the Archduke of Nessus, the 9th layer. To reach the deepest layer of the 9 hells, one must descend through all 8 of the layers above it in order. The most expeditious means of doing so is the river Styx, which plunges ever deeper as it flows from one layer to the next. Only the most courageous adventurers can withstand the torment and horror of the journey. So that reads to me as, we could think of this as 9-layer cake, one plane, very large, and like a river of chocolate goes through it, except for its death and suffering.
Yeah. To visualize it, it is kind of like layers stacked on top of each other in a 3D dimension, but you don't actually like go up or down when you're traveling to it. You're going through a horizontal plane. So it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around, but that's just the best way to understand it. Just go on the river Styx and eventually you'll get there, assuming you don't die because of all the fighting that's going on.
Okay, so let's start from the top. Let's start with Avernus.
Everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
Some people have descended there.
Yeah. If you're going to hell, most likely this is where you're going to go, like 90% of the time.
Yeah, it's the easiest to get to. There can be a confusion for some people who are new to the series lore that Avernus is just hell. That's it. It's just Avernus. But no, Avernus is just the foyer on the awfulness of cake that is awaiting you. But most mortals, if they end up in hell in some way, shape, or form, more likely 9 times out of 10, it's just going to be Avernus. You're not going to go any deeper than that, unless you get the attention of like an archdevil. But
yeah, so Avernus is where the vast majority of battles in the Blood War take place. The Blood War being the infinitely long conflict between devils and demons. Demons want to eat the multiverse, devils want to conquer the multiverse, and the way that demons have to get out of the abyss to go eat the multiverse is through hell. So naturally, fighting.
Perfect sense.
Avernus is ruled currently by Zariel, who, if you've seen the cover of Descent into Avernus, her.
Yeah.
She used to be an angel, was a very, very powerful celestial, had an interesting thought, hey, so I realize devils suck, but they're kind of right about the Blood War. We as celestials should go push demons back in the Blood War and try and stabilize the multiverse.
But also kill devils as well while we're there.
Yeah. What if we killed all the devils and we fought the Blood War? And then it went exactly how you might expect, which is to say badly.
Yeah.
She took a long rest in hell and failed that wisdom save.
Yeah. And before Zariel, little known fact, the person in charge of Avernus was a pit fiend known as Bel, who is still around. Yeah. Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, no,
yellow dress pit fiend.
Now I can't get out of my head. That's canon for me
beautiful.
Forever.
Absolutely,
that's canon for me forever. Just this big muscly pit fiend in a yellow, beautiful ball gown. Love it. It's fantastic. But Pit Fiend Bell, he still serves as her number 2, and the book describes their different sort of tactics. Like Bell was always a bit more cautious and strategic and knew how to outmaneuver and demons and stuff like that. Zariel's just attack. She's very bloodthirsty. So they kind of work together, but Bell kind of encourages her to continue being reckless because he's hoping that it will backfire in her face and he can, take control of Avernus again. That's a running theme that you'll see in Hell. Everybody's trying to backstab each other, but they're trying to do it within the bounds of the law.
Yeah.
Regulations say I take over. I didn't write them. I'm just trying to get you killed.
Yeah. So the other main thing that you have to know about when it comes to hell is that every archdevil and subsequently every devil has a soul quota that is assigned to them by Asmodeus, which means they have to get a certain number of souls within the quarterly period or they get disciplined. So it's basically like one big corporate just think of the worst sales job you've ever had. Yeah. That's hell. Everybody basically lives in one giant call center where everybody's trying to kill each other. So it's great.
Zariel, it's do you know why I pulled you over? Because it's the 30th of the month. Is that?
Yeah, your sales numbers are not quite up to par. Have you read the memo that I sent you? Do you have those TPS reports for me?
It's just that we're putting cover sheets on our TPS reports.
The office, our office space, a great depiction of hell and how it operates. But
link in the show notes.
So yeah, each archdevil has a different sphere of influence, like souls that they try to make deals with. Zariel, for the most part, doesn't really care about souls because she's just whatever helps me kill demons better. So she kind of leaves that to her underlings to do. But because she's not really willing to make any alliances with any other archdevils, she kind of has to rely on souls to feed her army. So her minions make deals with mortals who seek physical prowess or courage on the battlefield. And they make great soldiers when they die.
Perfect.
Yeah. So fiend-packed warlocks. Yeah.
Yep.
Just everywhere. God, jeez.
Yep.
Avernus is also famously where Tiamat lives. She's kind of imprisoned there. This is one of those things that's intentionally left vague. There is some deal between Tiamat and Avernus where Tiamat is stuck there and cannot leave under her own power. She has a bunch of very, very powerful fiends who serve her, and she has her dragon army, and she's a whole terrifying, threatening thing in her own right. but also can't leave.
Yeah, she also doesn't really care about any of the blood war and just kind of just keeps to herself. And what I find very funny is that according to Morgan Kanan's Tome of Foes, demons know better than to mess with her. They're just like, yeah, Tiamat's scary. Let's just leave her alone.
Yeah.
Which is funny because
hell.
Yeah, no problem. Tiamat, no, that's crossing a line, buddy. That's too scary. We're just gonna leave her alone. If you have made a reputation for yourself where even demons are afraid to mess with you, that's pretty terrifying. That's pretty terrifying.
Look,
Doom Guy.
If you're trying to break
Zariel
into...
is Doom Guy. Zariel is 100% Doom Guy.
Yeah, that's true. Look, if you were trying to break into the multiverse's largest buffet, and there was a bouncer and a sleeping attack dog, the bouncer wants to give you trouble. The attack dog just wants to take a nap. Are you going to wake up the attack dog? Probably.
No. Yeah, that's fair. It's like the bouncer was going to hit you no matter what you did. But,
exactly.
You have better odds if you don't wake the dog, too.
Also, I should stop going to buffets where they have bouncers. That feels like good life advice.
Yeah, no, I realized you said buffet. Why wouldn't you say like club or something? Like
because they want to eat
bouncers at buffets. Like, what is this?
I don't think so. But look, the demons want to eat the multiverse.
All right, that's enough pie, buddy.
All right,
you're done. Now move away from the buffet table slowly before I wake up Rufus. What kind of buffets are you going to?
Golden Corral?
Why?
It was the first buffet that popped in my head. Oh, well, there goes another potential sponsor.
You know what? I'll take that one. That one's on me.
Yeah, no, right. I'm good with not being sponsored by Golden Corral.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
All right. So PF2, the lore for Avernus is slightly different. As far as I saw, like the Blood War is much less of a thing in Pathfinder lore, if it's a thing at all, especially with the updated cosmology. Like, so in the D&D cosmology, the outer planes are always arranged around in a circle by alignment. But in the remaster PF2 cosmology, alignment's no longer a thing. Hell is down on the right, and the abyss is kind of up towards the top center, and there's like a bunch of other stuff in the way. So the Blood War might just not be a thing in the new Pathfinder lore. We don't know. Regardless, Avernus is ruled by an archdevil named Barbato. Do you pronounce it like a D or like a T, Ash?
Barbados? That's how you pronounce it.
Barbados Slim from Futurama.
Yeah. Or the island chain, yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's where Barbados from.
Although they spell it with a D, not a T. So yeah, it is still Barbados. Don't know why someone decided to name their child after a known demon of hell. Because, yeah, if you're wondering where they get Barbados from, it's like, well, why'd they name it after a pirate? Like, what? No, this is, again, goes back to the Ars Goetia. Barbados is a Duke of Hell who can grant premonitions of the future and the ability to speak with animals. So that Dr. Doolittle, secretly a warlock who made a pact with Barbados.
All right.
Honestly, that checks out.
He was evil the entire time. He just he won us over with his charming smile while secretly working for Duke of Hell. Apparently,
Did he come with the two bards to hell.
Yeah, I mean,
Dr. Doolittle or
that would be
Barbados.
I'd be up for that
Dr.
crossover.
Doolittle, Bill and Ted. Yeah,
yeah, that would be the crossover I didn't know I needed. But yeah, no, it's just, who would have thought that speaking with animals was considered an evil, hateful power? Just talking to animals, man.
Honestly, medieval Europe. I'm pretty sure they would have.
Fair enough.
They would have guessed.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a witch.
Fair enough.
I believe the Spanish inquired about that. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is, if a devil offered me the chance to speak with animals, I'd probably consider it, because that sounds rad.
Now you're on a list.
Layer 2, Dis. D-I-S, Dis.
Who Dis?
Dis? Yeah.
I feel like we could have done a little bit more with this.
Yeah, new phone. New phone. Who Dis?
Yeah. Wait, are we talking about Dis Layer? See, then you have to spell it out.
Yeah.
It's where they get where they diss you, if you cross the line all the time. Yeah.
So Dis
there.
in the D&D lore is canyons and mountains, and the mountains are famously iron rich, because if you're in hell, what are you going to find? Completely mundane metallurgy. All of the buildings, all of the roads, all of the structures, any permanent fixture is made of iron. Because what do they have? They have iron and they have slave labor.
Okay, I just learned something live on the podcast, and I'm going to come out with it. We can talk about that iron in a moment. I want to talk about more important things.
Please.
Is that the slave labor?
No, I'm excited about that.
Oh, look, the timing was bad.
Okay.
Ooh, slavery. Let's talk.
No. Absolutely. First of all, no.
Good answer.
Second of all, the name of the archdevil for Dis is Dispater. Dispater. The father of Dis.
Yeah.
Yeah. This father. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, this father.
Dispater.
Dispater.
The plane is named for Dispater, which, as far as I know, this is the only plane in the 9 hells where that's the case.
Is it Dispater or Dispater? I always thought it was Dispater.
Probably Pater.
Sure. I'll accept either. So Dispater. The plane of Dis is named for Dispater. I am not going to that much effort, sir.
All right, fine. Keep going.
So this is the only plane named for the archdevil that runs it. The only layer. Most of the layers have changed hands multiple times, with the exception of Nessus. So, like, as you read into the lore, you'll find, like, oh yeah, the previously deposed archdevil, they're still there doing X, Y, and Z in the background.
Or they're long dead.
Yeah, but regardless, it's kind of interesting that this one archdevil is so stable and has just been there for so long. The layer of the plane is just named him.
A manipulator and deceiver.
Well, there's a reason why he's been able to maintain power for so long. He's famously paranoid. One of the most paranoid archdevils in the 9 layers. And for good reason, because if you're not that paranoid in the 9 hells, history has shown you're probably going to get deposed at some point. But yeah, the reason why they use iron so much is Dis and the city of Dis. Very creative naming, Dispater. Love it.
Yeah.
Are a gigantic fort. It's where all of the weapons and stuff is manufactured for the Blood War. And so we talked before about how each archdevil has their sphere of influence. Zariel seeks out warriors. Dispater makes deals, or at least his minions do, because it's really hard to get an audience with him. His minions make deals with people looking for secrets, like looking to find good, tasty secrets, that they could blackmail people with. Nom 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 nom. Give me that hot goss. Or people looking for powerful weapons of mass destruction and stuff like that. So if you want a nuclear bomb that could destroy a whole city, talk to Dispater. Oh, I do have a great anecdote that I found about Dispater about how paranoid he is.
Okay.
So the way he sends messages to other devils and people under his control is he will brand the message onto an imp, already a great guy, and he'll cover the imp with like a coat or something that has its strings attached to its heart. So if anybody tries to take the coat off, that is not the intended recipient of the message, it explodes the imp's heart and immediately disintegrates them. So,
wow.
Yeah. So if you're an imp, kind of sucks to work for Dispater. But yeah, so that's why he hasn't been betrayed by anyone. It's really hard to do. He's paranoid.
Just cast sending.
Nah, that's too easy. That's too easy. Sending can be intercepted quite easily, so we're not doing that.
all right. Fine.
Yeah.
So we talked about the Iron City of Dis a bit. In Pathfinder lore, it's pretty similar, except the Iron City is the entire layer. So you're looking at like a Coruscant situation where it's a monobiome, and the monobiome is city full of devils. This is also where in Pathfinder lore, all of Hell's soldiers, for the most part, live in Dis. So, like, when they need a legion for devil things, you get it from Dis. So, in addition to manufacturing weapons, this is also where they keep all the soldiers, which makes sense. It's right next to the weapons.
Okay, before we go much further into Hell, what happens when I kill a devil?
Depends on where you kill them. If you kill them on any plane that is not hell, they will respawn after a certain amount of days in a very painful process on the layer of their forming, essentially. So all devils were mortals in a previous life. So wherever they first entered into the compact and became hell, became a devil, that's where they reform. If they died in a pretty pathetic way that pissed off their master, they might get demoted on being respawned, which makes them into a lesser devil. So you might go from a pit fiend to an imp if you really piss someone off.
Okay.
Yeah. Or if you really, really piss someone off, you go from a pit fiend to a lemure, which don't do that. Don't do that. It's not fun being a lemure. But so yeah, they remember who killed them and why. And they usually, if they have a way to get back to the prime material plane, they will try to hunt you down and kill you. So the only way to fully kill a devil is to kill them within the 9 hells. So if you kill them within the 9 hells, they are dead forever.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, exactly that. Let's see. So the process for how devils become better devils, worse devils, more powerful devils,
Promoted devils.
Promoted devils.
So generally when mortals generally when mortals go to hell, their soul is transformed into a lemure. Now this is slightly different in Pathfinder lore. You start as a shade, which is the soul of a dead person, and then eventually get hammered into something else. In D&D lore, you start as a lemure, which is the like weird blobby kind of, it looks like a melted person.
Looks like Ditto from Pokemon. That's kind of what it looks like.
Kind of. Yeah.
Looking this up.
So you start as a lemure, and if you exactly, if you
you want some real nightmare fuel, look up maggot. Yeah, if you look up
soul maggots.
Yeah, soul maggots from Hades. When we eventually talk about Hades, that's some good old nightmare fuel for you there.
Yeah. Okay, so lemures. You become a lemure. For the most part, lemures are then swept into what is functionally a legion of lemures and used as cannon fodder in the Blood War. If you somehow survive that for more than a few minutes, one of your superiors might take notice of you and promote you. And the way that you're promoted is a more powerful devil than you says, you now work for me, I'm promoting you to some other kind of devil, and you just become that. So it's like, lemure, congratulations, you're now an imp. Welcome to the corporate ladder. You may now continue advancing as long as you survive having your heart sewn into a jacket or whatever. And as you jockey for position, eliminate rivals, work your way up, please your superiors, not be murdered, you can then be promoted to more and more powerful devils until you get high enough up the chain that, in theory, an archdevil or Asmodeus himself would have to actually notice you and be like, I like the cut of your jib. You're doing a great job as a pit fiend. What if I made you unique and gave you a name?
So what you're saying is it's basically late stage capitalism.
Oh, got it. Yeah, kind of.
I mean, people who've worked in a corporate setting are listening to this and being like, this sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
Less murder, but a lot of people have gone to a better place.
I mean, it's just basically what people would want out of capitalism if there were no regulation.
Yeah.
That's the extreme version of laissez-faire.
There's still backstabbing. Instead of getting killed, though, you just get laid off or fired, which also kind of sucks. So,
So that's,
I feel like that brings us to our third layer of hell,
which also sucks. Yeah.
Everywhere in hell sucks. How are you not getting this? Hell sucks for everyone, especially the people who live in it.
All right. So the third layer in D&D, it's called Minaros, Minauros. So forgive me for, I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. In Pathfinder, it's called Erebus, but it's functionally the same thing. In both places, it's kind of a swamp. In D&D, it is literally like, it is a bog full of cyclopean ruins and things that suck. In Pathfinder, it's the literal sewers of Dis. So like you have the entire layer that is a city, and then the next layer is just sewer, which is kind of like a bog when you think about it.
Yeah, it's an open bog.
I have a perfect analogy for people who want to understand what the vibe of Minaros is. Okay. It's basically if Twitter was a real place and Mammon was Elon Musk. There, I said it. Come at me.
Yeah.
Mammon is the ultimate CEO. He hoards all of his wealth. And the reason Monaro sucks and is gross to look at, despite having all the wealth he could ever want, he doesn't spend a dime on it. Yeah. He doesn't want to spend any money on it to upkeep it. What does that sound like to me? Ooh, who does that remind me of? I can't think.
Hey, in other news, folks, Blue Sky is now no longer requiring invite codes to join. Find us on Blue Sky as RPGBOT.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm essentially hijacking this episode as Ash rants against his problems with capitalism. That should be its own show, but.
All right.
So a bit about Mammon. So as I said, he's very wealthy, doesn't want to spend any of his wealth though. His sphere of influence is, first off, he's the financier of hell. So not just mortals, but any devils who want to get money or finance something have to probably talk to Mammon. And he excels at giving out loans to mortals who need wealth, want wealth and power and that kind of stuff. But the catch is they have to pay it back to him once they come back to hell. So yeah, don't make deals with Mammon because don't make deals with any devils. It kind of sucks. Yeah. But Mammon especially.
Yeah, let's see. So Mammon and his insane, crazy vault and hoarding of wealth. If you've played Baldur's Gate 3, and this is going to be a mild spoiler, but one of the central plot MacGuffins of the entire game was stolen from Mammon's vault. And Mammon had collected, it's like, oh, look at this neat, very expensive trinket in my vault. Never going to think about it again. So, kind of cool.
Was it Mammon's vault or was it Levistus's vault? I thought it was Levistus's vault.
I'm pretty certain it was Mammon's, but now you have me questioning myself. I don't recall Levistus having a vault since Levistus
the reason why I say Levistus is because I believe Levistus was Raphael's dad. Mephistopheles. The crown was taken from the archdevil Mephistopheles. Yeah. So we were both wrong. We were both wrong.
Yeah.
That actually makes sense because Mephistopheles is like the main person to talk to about magical artifacts and stuff. Mammon's really only concerned with like money and not really artifacts of any sort of importance.
For value.
When someone says priceless, he is immediately like, not interested.
Yeah, essentially. Now, the whole thing with Mammon is that he believes that time is money more than anything else. And if you are boring him, he'll take out his frustration by leaving you as a blood stain on the floor. So it's like, if you want to deal with Mammon, you better get to the point quickly.
So layer number 4, Phlegethos.
I hate it. I hate the name. It just does not roll off the tongue.
I cannot hear the word Phlegethos without thinking about snot, and I don't know what's wrong with me.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. Honestly, that's where my head went as well. Yeah.
That's where my head goes to. Yeah. So
okay. Well, fortunately, it's not that. It's fire. It's all fire. You've got your classic, hell is fire and brimstone and lava and all of those things, and that's Phlegethos. It's a little bit of Avernus, but Avernus is surprisingly survivable. Phlegethos is almost the plane of fire. This is another weird Archduke situation. So there's an Archduke and an Archduchess. It's Belial and his daughter Fierna. Just that sentence raises some very interesting questions that I don't quite have answers to.
Oh, it gets worse than that. So, according to Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, they're sometimes referred to as father and daughter, sometimes as mother and son, and sometimes as wife and husband. What?
That's weird.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so nobody's really clear on their relationship, but they both love and hate each other and respect and loathe each other. So it's just like, it's a weird dichotomy that they have with each other.
You ever just leave questions blank?
Just gender, prefer not to specify.
Oh yeah. No, they are the definition of a toxic codependent relationship. That's 100% what their vibe is.
I love that. So in the DMG, it literally says, the alliance of Belial and Fierna is unbreakable, for both are aware that their mutual survival hinges on it.
Yeah, so according to Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, they are constantly trying to outmaneuver and one-up each other. and like undermine each other's plans. But if any devil wanted to try to take advantage of the rift between them and like, try to attack Phlegethos, they would immediately unite with each other to drive it back. So they are kind of like, they're frenemies in a way. Like they like to rib and undermine each other and challenge each other. But at the end of the day, they are loyal to each other to a fault.
See, at this point, it sounds more like siblings. And honestly, it makes the whole thing worse.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that they give off a sibling vibe, but it's like an incestuous sibling vibe. So it's gross. It's a gross relationship all around. Yeah,
Okay.
But so brief rundown on their whole vibe. So first off, there is a city in Phlegethos called Abramach, which if you're a devil, it is a great place to go. It is like Vegas mixed with that resort town in Mexico. I forget.
Kabul?
What? Kabul is in Pakistan, isn't it?
Wait, no.
Cancun. Thank you. Okay. Cancun. Yeah, it's a resort town that has a lot of gambling and, Afghanistan. Thank you. Sorry.
I think I'm in Cabo.
Cabo. Okay. Very different vibes. Extremely different vibes. Yeah. But maybe kind of no, we're not going there. Vegas, so it's very much like Vegas, land of sin. You wouldn't have to change much. You just have to make it even more decadent. She tends to do most of the dealing with mortals. Belial couldn't care less. Even if mortals try to entreat with him, he's just like, talk to Fiona. I don't want to deal with you. He's more interested in running the day-to-day affairs of their realm and doing the administrative work. So Fiona, she deals with mortals who want to seek to influence people and get into positions of power. So like politicians, kings, and stuff like that, who want to create power or be loved and feared or respected. So if you want to find a way to get someone to love you, Fiona's the one to talk to.
Yeah.
But what is Phlegethos in Pathfinder 2, Tyler?
Hang on. I need to hammer on this just a tiny bit more. I've got two things. So one, the implication that one of the two of them might be the other one's child implies both that devils have genders, which for the most part, they frequently use he, him pronouns just because the history of the game. But most devils don't really depict any kind of differing gender. So as far as we know, it's all just like monogender, top to bottom. It also implies that they can reproduce by having children, which, considering devils are created by taking mortal souls and turning them into new devils.
I got a different interpretation for you.
Okay.
What if, as mortals, they had one of these many relationships we've described, and they were both like, you know what we should do? Let's go be lemurs, and then hopefully we both survive and get promoted.
You think you're confused now? Wait till we get to Malbolg and all of that.
Randall, I'm going to accept that as headcanon for lack of a better idea. Second thing, the Dungeon Master's Guide says Fiona has the blackest heart in the 9 hells, which that is a distinction.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, his daughter is the statuesque devil whose beauty encases the blackest heart in the 9 hells.
That is quite a reputation to make for yourself.
Okay. So
because everybody kind of sucks in the hells, but you have to be a specific brand of suckitude in order to have the blackest heart in the 9 hells. Woof.
I'm getting real like Cruel Intentions vibes.
Well, to be fair, the fact that she makes deals with people who want to try to force someone into loving them kind of makes sense.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's fair.
We're dancing around the issue without actually talking about it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. So Pathfinder.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah. Pathfinder.
Hearing that a lot tonight.
So it's not Phlegethos, it's Phlegathon. That's different.
Yeah, sure. Go, you do you, buddy.
Also, instead of being Devil Resort Town, it's some sort of forge. So I mentioned earlier how Pathfinder dead souls they're shades, and they wander the planes until something happens to them. In a lot of cases, in Hell, the shades are used for various purposes. Sometimes they are used directly as slaves, but in a lot of cases, they're taken to Phlegathon and then put into the forge and used to either make things or make new devils. So this is where new devils come from, as far as I can tell. And I may not have this lore 100% correct, so I don't know, shout at me on social media. From what I have read, this is where we get new devils.
You suck.
That's what social media is for, Ash. Come on. I invited people to Blue Sky.
Yeah, you don't even have to be wrong. People will do it there anyway.
I wouldn't be fulfilling my contractual obligation to this company when you hired me if I wasn't bullying you on a near constant basis.
Yeah. Tyler just can't wait to collect that soul.
Layer number 5. We've had a whole lot of fire and brimstone, some various filth, some forges, hot irons. It's time to cool off in Stygia. A literal hell hath frozen over. Here we go.
Yeah.
But they have cold flames.
Sure do, somehow. I
love that. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, if you've read the Dante's Inferno, the 7th layer of hell might sound familiar to Stygia, where it's all just cold and everybody's frozen in ice. That's basically Stygia.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's ruled by Levistus? I don't know.
Levistus, I think.
Yeah.
Levi Strauss.
Canon. It's canon now. Levi Strauss. That is such a dweeby name, and I love it.
So it's ruled by Levistus, who apparently did something to make Asmodeus really angry. So as punishment, Levistus is now permanently frozen in a block of ice.
What could he have been?
I don't know.
What could he have done? Could it be that he tried to overthrow Asmodeus?
Yeah,
I mean,
some light betrayal amongst our civil friends, and all of a sudden I'm in a brick of ice.
Yeah, honestly,
eternity.
Who could have predicted this would happen?
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's locked in a block of ice, but also still has to do the work of ruling the plane, or the layer of hell. Fortunately, Levistus is telepathic, so can communicate to his lackeys telepathically, and essentially rules by proxy. There was apparently briefly another archdevil who ruled Levistus. I'm forgetting the name.
Geryon.
Yeah. Garyon's still around.
Nobody likes Gary from accounting.
No. Let's see. So, yeah, Levistus, crazy. If you've looked at Warlock invocations, there's an invocation called Tomb of Levistus, which lets you freeze yourself in a block of ice and be very hard to hurt very temporarily, but also incapacitate yourself. It's a bad option. Don't take it.
So, yeah, the other part of Levistus's punishment, aside from him being frozen in ice, is that he now is forced to, his sphere of influence is forced to make deals with desperate mortals who want safety. I don't know why that's a punishment for him, but apparently it is.
They're whiny, these mortals.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the fact of saving them. This isn't a charity we're running here. Yeah, so if you're a criminal who's on the run and wants to buy yourself some time, or, get out of whatever crime you did, you're going to talk to Levistus. Or if you are terminally ill, or you want to avoid your death in some fashion, Levistus would give you the power to do so, at least temporarily, because eventually he will claim your soul. That's just kind of how the deal works. He can't really grant you immortality, but he can extend your life. A lot of liches make deals with Levistus in order to get the power and knowledge to make themselves into liches, which lasts until, they are able to, not find enough souls, or they get defeated, then they get claimed by Levistus. So that's probably why the punishment is because he's forced to extend people's lives. So he has souls in escrow. So kind of sucks for him. But yeah, so a little bit more about Geryon. Geryon was the previous ruler of Stygia, but it went back and forth between him and Levistus. The book states that Levistus was frozen right as he had a huge victory over Geryon, so technically he is in charge, and Geryon has still tried to actively undermine him, but hilariously, he can't affect Levistus directly because that block of ice he's frozen in makes him invincible. So Geryon is very pissed about that. Geryon also makes deals with devils, but his are more about physical strength, kind of like Zariel's like, hey man, stop copying Zariel's homework, all right? Get your own thing. You're a loser. Gary, stop copying other people's homework. Get back to accounting. Nobody likes you, man.
I feel like Zariel is kind of the newcomer to the whole scene, so maybe she's copying his homework.
Maybe, but Zariel's cooler. Sorry, carry on. You kind of suck. I mean, if you looked at his stat block, it's kind of pathetic.
I haven't.
He's back in the freezer.
He's very takeable.
That's what La Vista said.
So Pathfinder, the lore here is actually a bit different. So in D&D, it's frozen and it sucks and you don't want to be there. In Pathfinder lore, this is where devils put their temples and libraries and basically all the gross stuff that they write down. Like they study how to be even worse to prevent devilry, and all of their academic stuff happens in Stygia. So
that feels like an awesome place to write an adventure to go to. Like, we need to get this ritual from hell. Like, that's
well, there's an equivalent to that in Bator, which we'll get to later.
Okay. So they change levels. That's good. Okay, I think this is where we're going to take a break in our journey through the 9 hells. Thank you all so much for being with us tonight. I'm Randall James. You'll find me on amateurjack.com and on Twitter and Instagram at JackAmateur.
I'm Tyler Campster. You'll find me on RPGBOT.net, Facebook and Twitter, RPGBOT.Dot. Manatee. And I wasn't kidding. Blue Sky does exist. BSKY.app/RPG.
And I'm Sheila. You can find rituals to summon the damned and devils on my Twitter at Graven Ashes. Or
it's just at Graven Ashes. You know, it's not a real ritual.
Hey,
don't ruin it, man.
Don't ruin my mythos, all right? I worship Satan. Praise him. And I will make you into a witch or wizard if you prefer, if you follow my 9-step damnation
protocol. Be a newt.
Or you can find me on my YouTube channel, Ash Raven Media. If you want me to run a hellish jaunt through the 9 hells, Hell, Michigan, got it. I thought it said hell me.
Yeah.
Are you saying your hell? Yeah, I can agree with that. But yes, if you want me to hire you to run a game through the 9 hells, maybe I could be persuaded to run Avernus for you at startplaying.games. Link in the description, peasants.
All hail the Leisure Illuminati.
No, hail Satan. Hail Satan.
Hail.
If you've enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and rate us on Spotify or your favorite podcast app. It's a quick, free way to support the podcast and helps us to reach new listeners. You'll find links in the show notes. You'll find affiliate links or source books and other materials linked in the show notes, as well as on RPGBOT.net. Following these links helps us to make this show happen every week. If your question should be the question of the week next week, please email podcast@RPGBOT.net or message us on Twitter at RPGBOT.Net. Please also consider supporting us on Patreon, where you'll find all kinds of great rewards. At any tier, you'll get early access to RPGBOT content and polls for future content. At our $3 tiers, you'll enjoy your choice of ad-free access to RPGBOT.net or ad-free podcast episodes and access to live-streamed podcast recordings. At our $5 tiers and above, you'll get all of that, plus access to the RPGBOT.Discord. You'll find us at patreon.com/RPGBOT.
I've gotten too lazy in my attempts to make Randall laugh.
It's okay.
I'm starting to think he just minimizes the window.
He probably does.
I stopped. There was a point in time where I actually did do the headphones off and minimize the window. The problem was I imagined what you were doing was funnier than it actually was, and it made it so much worse. Like at one point, like Ash had his shirt off and he was waving around his head, and I'm like, "Oh no, that's so good, Ash! You totally got me." And I look over, and Ash is actually just staring off in the distance. I'm like, "Oh, never mind."
You've given me ideas, good sir. Maybe once I've done some more workouts and got some sick gains, I'll be more comfortable showing up. Because right now all you'll see is muffin top and love handles, unfortunately. Yeah. And the people aren't patron members to see that. I think we would lose a lot of patron members if I did that.
First me.
All of a sudden, tips start coming in. Put it on!
It occurs to me I moved my tactically placed whiteboard. Now people would see the vague mess on that side of my desk.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh no, you're not perfect and clean. Who could have thought?
You're not fully clean.
I want a refund, sir.